Do you ever feel like you're falling behind the most important revolution the world has ever seen? Well, you're in the right place. This is the Beginner's Guide to AI. This is going to be the most in-depth video on the entire AI space, on the entire internet. In fact, if you had been sleeping under a rock for the past 2.5 years and this was the only video you'd watched on AI, you'd be ahead of the curve. In this video, you're going to see over 100 useful, practical, and fun ways to use AI. This video is going to be divided into 3 sections. Section number 1 is called the Vibe Stack, which are all of the popular use cases for AI tools and popular platforms. It's important that you understand this so that you know how to create automations and agents that actually do useful, cool, and fun things, which the foundation for that is this type 1, which is Vibe Stack. And then we're going to move on to section 3, and we're going to build an app with all of this in mind. We're going to build an app that leverages the Vibe Stack tools. We're going to mix and match tools, and you are going to have a better understanding of how to create apps without writing a single line of code using these popular tools. You do not need to be technical in order to code and build applications that you can use to make money, that you can use in your business for whatever use case you want. This is going to be the ultimate AI video from ChatGPT all the way up to the most intense vibe coding tools. I'm going to break it down very simply. And by the end of this video, you are going to be able to tackle problems 10 times better than you could before, knowing that you have all of these tools at your disposal that you can use at any time to dominate whatever field that you're in. So let's go ahead and start with the chat AI tools. And we are going to start with none other than ChatGPT. The main benefit that I've gotten from these chat tools is I can do everything significantly faster and at as high of quality. Because one thing that these LLM-based tools did is they basically took all books, all of Wikipedia, all of Reddit, and basically all of the internet, and they made it searchable. Immediately searchable, which brings me to the first question, which is asking a question. So we're going to start here on chatgpt.com. This is where we are. And we can, and most of you guys already know this, we're going to start off with the basics. You can ask a question like, how do I negotiate a better salary? And it is going to literally give you the information right here. It is going to tell you exactly how to negotiate a better salary. And you can say, I work in finance and my boss is being horribly mean to me. And so here it tells you to document everything, strengthen your leverage, start quietly exploring other roles, negotiate or exit. Very good advice. Not only can we ask questions, right? We can ask questions using search. And more of these LLMs have this capability. If we just start a new chat here, we can turn on search and we can say, please tell me who made the NBA playoffs and write a little tweet about it. And as you can see here, it says searching the web. And so it searched the web. It tells us exactly who's made the playoffs. It gives us a little information on it. And then it gives us a tweet. And obviously, it doesn't have any information about how I would tweet, which brings me to projects. If you open up this side window here on ChatGPT, you'll see this projects header. If we come over here and we hit new projects, we can now create a folder of all of the chats that we want to keep in this folder or project. And so what I want to do is let's call this Riley's Tweets. And what we can do is we can just create this project. Now, this is going to open up a slightly different view. This looks different than this. This, we're not in a project, but if we click Riley's Tweets, we see this slightly different view. And when you are in this view and within a project, you can add files and you can add custom instructions. Let's go ahead and add some instructions. So So it's going to open up a text box. And what we can do is we can say, whenever I ask for a tweet or type or any content for that matter, please use the examples in this project to influence the style and beliefs. Please don't ever use emojis or hashtags. Maintain the voice of the user while also using the tone of voice from the examples. When writing content, every line or every sentence should be on its own line, like this. A full line break in between each sentence. Now, if you remember, to the chat we just created down here, I asked for a tweet. And the tweet added hashtags, it added multiple emojis. It just sounded dumb, right? Or, it sounded not like me. But when we have these custom instructions, it won't do that. But if you notice here, in the instructions, I said reference the examples. So we need to give ChatGPT some examples. So let's go ahead and go to Twitter. I'm going to go to my Twitter account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to highlights. Anytime you pin a tweet, it actually goes to your highlights. And so what we can do is we can actually take all of my pinned tweets and let's go ahead and let's copy this one right here. And so we're going to copy this. We're going to go back to ChatGPT and we're actually going to open up, let's go to Google Docs. Let's just go to a Google Doc right here. And we're going to open up a new Google Doc and I'm going to paste in that tweet. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a header and say tweet 1. So we created this first tweet right here. Now we can move to tweet 2. So let's go ahead and throw these next to each other. Now I can just keep going down. Let's look for the best tweets. And so all of these tweets right here are made specifically for Twitter videos. And you can see this video got 200,000 views. And I just went through and grabbed the top 5 videos that I've made on Twitter and grabbed those tweets. Because when you're finding examples, you want to choose the best and highest quality ones because we're going to put this in the project to be used as an example. And you want it to have really good examples. So let's save these as top video style tweets. Now we are going to hit File and we're going to download this as a PDF document. Now we can go back to ChatGPT. So we can press this, we can add files, and now we can select that video PDF, the top video tweets PDFs, and we can enter that right there. Now what we can do is we can search again, just like before. And now we can type in as I am creating a vibe code tutorial video on Cursor, specifically going over MCPs, the useful ones. Please create a tweet like in the files. Please give me 4 options. And so now it is going to search the web and it's going to have context, right? Tweet option 1. Remember, I specifically asked for all of the sentences to be on its own line, and it's doing that. Vibe coding with MCP transforms Cursor into a personal AI operating system. In this tutorial, we connect Claude to your file system, calendar, and Notion, all without typing, just voice commands and the agent. That's exactly how I would say it. And so now we have created a customized personal AI project that uses our tone. Okay, so now let's say we wanted to start over within projects. We can press Riley's tweets. Now we're back here and it's actually going to organize all of the chats that we do within Riley's tweets. In this project, it's going to keep all of that information right here. And now what we can do is we can actually raise the model. And so now I'm going to be using O3, which is the latest advanced reasoning model. And so what we can do is we can turn on the search mode and we can say, I want you to do research on how Riley Brown AI thinks, and I want you to write a mini essay in his tone on how vibe code is changing the world. Find real world data that people might have missed on this growing trend and be very persuasive. And this model is incredible, by the way. This isn't a very good prompt to understand its full utility, but O3 is a very strong model. So what this did is this actually searched the internet for me, Riley Brown, and it got my perspectives on vibe coding. And then it also searched the internet on what vibe coding is. And then it used the project that we were in to create the proper tone based on our instructions and the files that we uploaded. Forget the syntax. Feel the problem. Speak the solution. That's core. The term that Andrej Karpathy minted when he told builders to fully give into the vibes and to pretend the code doesn't exist. So far we've used this chat interface, which we can turn on the search. We can also create a project for custom specific types of prompts that you want to use, in which you could set your own custom instructions and add project files. Well, we actually don't need to add files directly within a project. We can actually do it directly within the chat by pressing this plus sign. If we go back to ChatGPT, we have a new chat. We can actually upload files. We could take a screenshot of this right here, and we could save it to our clipboard. And we can go back to ChatGPT and we can just paste that bad boy in there. And we can say, please look at the image tools and write an essay on in the tone of Sam Altman on the image tools I mentioned, short, concise, as if it was an internal memo to the OpenAI team. And now this new O3 model, which we're going to talk about later. We are going to test this out right here. And it actually just analyzed the image, and now it's analyzing the image at a deeper level, which we are going to talk about this later. The level to which O3, the new OpenAI model, can analyze, especially images, is truly remarkable. And so it went through all of this analysis before doing this write-up in internal memo from Sam Altman, where we strand on the current crop of image generation tools team. A quick reality check on the images column from the VibeStack map Riley share. And we can actually copy this, or one of the most underutilized tools in all of ChatGPT, you can actually edit this in Canvas. And so we can actually just press edit in Canvas right here. So the chat is here on the left, and it put the canvas right here. And now we can actually make edits to this. We can say, actually shorten this and please write it in sentences in the tone of Jeff Bezos. And so it is actually just going to directly edit this right here. Wait, sorry. In order to do that, I think you need to use GPT-4o to use the canvas, and we can say add a sentence at the end. Yes, so here it literally edits it just like that. So it added this sentence here at the end, and then you can actually just edit this, right? So we can actually make this a heading, and we can actually add a sentence here, and we can say hello everyone, and then we can say add two paragraphs and write it in the tone of Elon Musk And now it will edit it, and you can watch it edit this, which is a very fun and interesting thing. And you can see here that this is a much more direct Elon Musk style voice. And so here are those 6 use cases for ChatGPT. However, I do want to mention that Gemini.google.com, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, or it's their LLM tool, is virtually identical in many different ways. We can even use this Canvas mode. Please write an essay on themes of racism in To Kill a Mockingbird. And here we're using Gemini Advanced 2.5 Experimental, which is a very good model. And as you can see here, with Gemini, we also have, in my opinion, it is a better design. And it is very easy to just edit things. Right here, we can add paragraphs. I think we have actually more styling options. And then one thing we have here is we have a one-click export to Docs. And this allows you to immediately get it in Google Docs. And this is incredibly useful because I personally use the Google Suite and I'm constantly using Google Docs. And so we can put Gemini Canvas export to Google Docs. In terms of the search feature, Gemini also has the search feature, so we can always do this deep research, or it'll actually search the internet by default. But there's also a lot of other LLM tools. Like we can actually just use Perplexity. This was the first ever model that did search, and now all of the tools have search. And so I think they might be trying to figure out what they're going to do that is differentiated. But again, this is another tool that has a lot of the similar features. This tool does not have a Canvas feature, but it does have a projects feature, except they call them spaces. And you can actually create a space, and it's very similar to the ChatGPT project. If you remember, it has custom instructions. After you create a space, you can see here that you can upload files, and you can actually upload links, which is very new to the Spaces feature. So yeah, these are the different chat tools. We looked at ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. We're going to talk a lot more about Claude later in this video, and you can also use Grok. As you can see here, they all mostly have project features. They all have the Canvas feature except for Perplexity. They all have search. I think Perplexity is the best at search. I think Claude has the best artifacts feature. I think Gemini is really close though. And they all have deep research. I think ChatGPT has the best deep research feature. They all have file upload. They're not even worth comparing. And the most unique feature that Gemini has is they actually have video analysis. You can upload videos and have AI analyze it. But this actually isn't in their Gemini app. It's actually in their Gemini Studio app. So if you go to Studio, Gemini, just type that in, we are gonna go to Google AI Studio, which is very similar. There, it's kind of confusing. But if you actually go to this Flash model, where is it? So if you go to Gemini 2, so what we can do is we can actually just drag a video in right here. Here is a TikTok video that I made. Please give me timestamp segments on where I could add some B-roll pop-ups that would be best for education and describe them. So this AI model literally takes in a video here. It takes in a video and it understands the video at every single timestamp. And it is truly insane. And so here it's thinking. It literally tells us the exact timestamps that says Spoken Q. Both of these models have gained the same superpower. Spoken Q, it has control over every single pixel it generates. B-roll suggestion. So it can select the object, remove them, and add a new object nearly perfectly. B-roll suggestion. Use the existing hat example sequence from 26 to 30. It's already excellent B-roll demonstrating exactly this. You could slightly slow down the transition where the hat appears. This is how we get AI agents that do video editing for you, is you have AI models that understand the video. This video you're watching right now could be uploaded to this model and fully understood. And I could say, as you can see by this chart, And if it had access to all my charts, the AI model could actually just add the chart right there. I wish I could do that right now. That is where this technology is headed. And this is so under talked about. It isn't talked about at all, honestly. This model right here literally understands videos. All of Gemini's AI models do, and that is incredible. So this is a pretty good start for chat. You can ask a question using search, you can create custom AI projects for your specific use case, and within those projects, you can also search. You can add files such as images and PDFs. You can use the Canvas feature to edit. And then within Gemini, you can actually use the Canvas and export it to Google Docs. And you can also use the AI Studio, which is Gemini's AI, to analyze videos. And you can actually use all of these functionalities within your own apps that you can create, as we will get to later. But what I really want to move on to is images and how to use visuals in your workflows and how it relates to this chat, because the best AI image model right now is actually directly inside ChatGPT. And so that's where we're going to start. So up until recently, Midjourney was the best AI image model by far. You could feel the difference between Midjourney and all of the rest of the image models. Currently, to this day, it's actually still the best at realism, in my opinion. However, I would say the best overall image model for everyday use cases, especially in the business and content setting, ChatGPT 4o is the best. It is slower than Midjourney. Midjourney's a lot more fun platform because you can create a lot more image faster. This is faster, you can create batches, but GPT-4o is the best at styling, Obviously it had the Ghibli phenomenon, which was the most viral AI feature in a very long time, and it's really, really good at text in images, like the best by far. And let's dive into that right now. So just like earlier, we're gonna go to Chat GPT, and all we have to do is make sure that we're using the 4o model. So let's pretend for a second that this is my house. This is not my house, by the way. I just found it on Zillow. But we're gonna take a screenshot of this. And this is an idea that I got yesterday. Someone posted this on Twitter. And I can't find the tweet, but they were saying that paint companies, or companies that paint houses, are actually just using AI to change the paint of the house, to show you what it looks like. And let me show you what this very useful business use case looks like. So we can just upload an image of this house, and we can say, please paint this house dark gray. Keep everything else the exact same. I just want to change the paint color to dark gray. And the GPT-4o model will immediately just generate one singular image, which is different than Midjourney because you can have it generate 4 at a time and you can run it over and over again. So I could literally have it generate 30 images in the time that it would take for this to generate one image. And so in that way, Midjourney's better. But in terms of the editing quality and using natural chat language to edit an image, GPT-4o is far and away the best. And there we go. Look at this. So everything about the house is basically the same. And so we started with this, and now it looks like this. And obviously it painted these bricks that might not get painted, but I think this actually kind of looks cool. And you can actually paint it any color. And you can say, keep everything the same except add a red Jeep in the driveway with black rims. Maybe you have this car. Maybe you want to put the user's car in the image. I don't know what you want to do. But that is some use cases that you can do, right? We can change the paint on houses for a paint company, and hopefully your mind is racing. You can be like, okay, what else can you do with that? What else can I do like this? And the answers are endless. Imagine if you work for a pen company and you need to sell this pen, right? You don't want to just have to take a photo of this pen. You could say, please put this pen in the hand of a model as they hold it. In fact, we'll do that right after this is done loading. There you go. We have the same image and we have this red Jeep out front. That's pretty good. We have this new house, which is basically identical to the form of this house right here. We painted it dark, and now we have this red Jeep right here in the driveway. Let's get this photo of Cologne. We'll paste that in and say, please turn this into a highly professional product photo that looks very sexy. This should have a really cool background, but the actual product should look exactly the same. Woo! Look at that. That's pretty insane. And we can actually do specific edits. So let me show you something real quick. I don't know why my mouse cursor isn't showing up over the selection, but we can select a certain area on the photo, as you can see right there. And what we can do is we can say, change this text to Riley Brown, comma, the goat. And we can now edit this highly professional product photo. And it looks like it got like basically the ratio, like this font and spacing looks to be exactly the same colors. It just has really clean lighting. And we could obviously change the background as well. All right, well, here's an example of it not being perfect, right? I selected just this part. Maybe I need to describe the selection a little bit better, but ChatGPT is going to continue to get better, and it actually just changed the whole thing to Riley Brown, the goat. Please change the background to be lighter. Make it velvet red background. And here you go. It created this Riley Brown, the goat, with a velvet red background. Let's dive into Midjourney, because Midjourney has the most realistic AI-generated images on the market right now. It is the most photorealistic. So this is Midjourney, and Midjourney is definitely more, I would say, artistic. It has better vibes. It's just a fun site to use. And the main difference here is we can actually just mass create images. And it's a lot more fun when you're trying to come up with something, when you're after discovery of AI-generated images and AI-generated styles, and there's a lot more settings built into the platform. Let's imagine we wanted to create an app icon, right? We wanted an app icon for an app called Vibe Code, right? An iOS app icon of an orange monkey, cute, minimalistic, and yeah, let's just run this. And so what you can do is you can actually just press Command Enter, and you can see here 4 images are now being generated. And what we can do actually is we can just do that over and over again. So we can say Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter. And so here we now have 30 images loading all at once. And so we can kind of see them in this grid. And in this way, it's a little bit dangerous because you can spend a lot of money. Each of these generations costs money. And so what we can do here is we can click on one of these and we can actually download them. And if we download them and open up Finder, right, we can see the image is right here. It's 1024 by 1024. So if it gets any bigger than that, it might start to look pixelated. But they have this feature right here, which allows you to upscale an image. And we can also vary an image. And so it'll use the same style right here. It'll create a variation that looks kind of similar. And so as you can see here, it created this upscale, and we can click on this. And now if we download this image and we open up Finder, we will see here that this one is 2048 by 2048. So it's bigger. You can use it on posters or full websites so it doesn't lose its shape once it gets bigger. Here we can see that these are slightly varied. So it uses basically the same general style. Because if you notice, I first generated like 30 of these app icons. And I love doing this, and so now I can basically hone in and be like, okay, what style do I want here? Okay. And then I can find the style that I want. If I really, let's say I really like this one. I'm like, okay, I really like this style. Now we can create variations. And we can click on this as many times as we want. 2, 3, 4. And remember, all of these are multiplied by 4. So right here it shows 4, which means this is generating 16 new variations of this app icon, and you can see that it's somewhat close. So we're kind of getting closer. But let's say we actually want to edit these at a more granular level on Midjourney. We can click on this right here, and what we can do is we can just hit editor. And so this will automatically open this up in this editor here. Okay, and so now what we can do is we can actually use this eraser tool. And so we can actually erase this part right here. And what we can do is we can actually edit this prompt here. So we can say app icon of an orange monkey, and I'm just going to say wearing a purple beanie. And we're going to hit submit edit. You can see here it's editing this beanie, and now it's created 4 versions with a purple beanie, right? And now look at this. This is really, really good. This is a lot of fun. And with a purple beanie, now we're gonna go to ChatGPT to go to one of our old use cases, which is a question, right? We go to ChatGPT, what is the little ball thing on the top of a beanie? It's called a pom-pom. Great, I didn't know that. Thought those were what cheerleaders had. We can go back with pom-pom. Now, what we can do is we can submit the edit. So now it should add a little pom-pom thing at the top of the beanie. And there you go. It added this little pom-pom. There, that's fine. And so within Midjourney, we had some interesting use cases here. Even though it seemed like what we did was simple, we did a lot. To pay someone to ideate around an app icon could cost thousands of dollars. And I'm not saying what we did is in equal quality, but we were able to ideate, to have this creative ideation process around an icon. And then we were able to create variations of the style that we liked. And then we were able to, at a more granular level, make specific edits, and it maintained the overall style. So we ideated 30 app icons in 30 seconds. We chose a style that we liked, and then we created 30 variations. And then we upscaled the image, and then we made granular edits to the image. But you'll notice here, we're actually using version 6. So if we click on settings right here, and we go to version, we should go to the latest version. And so let's create a photorealistic landscape image, and we can change the exact, let's do 6x5, and let's do photorealistic image of a tiger skateboarding, doing a kick flip over a stairway at the White House. And now we're going to create, let's create 24 versions. So Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter, Command Enter. And so here we can see all of the variations of this new image generating here with version 7. And you can see these coming in, and I mean, come on, these are gonna be awesome. Oh, this is crazy. And so this is Midjourney. And every time I use Midjourney, I'm actually kind of blown away by the realism. I mean, look at this. And they're all in kind of like different styles. I love this one. So this one I'm going to favorite. And let's create a few subtle variations. And let's keep going through these. This one's okay. This one looks a little fake. This one, the lighting's kind of good. I kind of dig this one. I'll favorite this one. And we can kind of go through here. This one is like a tiger wearing normal clothes. I'm gonna stick with that original one that I created. So here our variations are done. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So we have these images here of this tiger, and let's go ahead and upscale this one right here. Okay, so we got our upscaled image. This looks really cool. Let's go ahead and save this image. Now what we can do, let's actually move on to video. And we're going to be going back and forth from images to video because they're very much related. Very much related. And so we're about to just mix images, video, and sound to create high quality videos. And we are going to use Krea AI. Krea AI is one of my favorite tools. They just raised a ton of money. This video is not sponsored or anything like that. What we can do here is we can actually go to video, and we are going to generate a video, and we're going to use the starting frame of that image that we just downloaded of the tiger riding a skateboard down these stairs here, and we're going to say tiger riding skateboard down stairs. And let's start off with a very simple prompt here. And so here we can actually select a model. And you can see here, Kling 2.0 is the best model right now, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. Kling 2.0, and then also Runway Gen 4, which I'll show you in just a second. Let's go ahead and use Kling 2.0, and we're gonna hit generate. Downstairs and falling off. Let's do 2. So we'll have one of them, it's falling. But these, look at this, it says 5 minutes remaining. So these can take a little while. However, while it's loading, let's go ahead and go to runway.ml, which created Runway Gen 4. And we're gonna do the same thing. So those are the two best models. The two best video models, in my opinion, are Kling and then Runway Gen 4. These are the two best AI video models right now. Google VO is right behind. I'll highlight this one as this little gray color here because Google VO is not far behind these two. Sora, Luma Labs, and Pika Labs I think are a slight step behind, but all of these companies could end up being billion-dollar companies. In fact, Runway's already a billion-dollar company, so is Kling. Yeah, I mean, it's likely, who knows if Pika Labs get there? Pika Labs is kind of going a more consumer route. But I will actually talk about Pika Labs in just a second. Let's go ahead and focus on these two right here. So on Runway, we can hit generate video, and now we can drop that same asset we dropped into using the Kling model on Krea. And here we can upload this image, and let's just crop that to this 4:3. And we can enter the same thing we did into Krea. So we can come down here, and I'm actually just going to enter this prompt right here. And we are going to paste this like that. And can we do 10 seconds? Here we can do 10 seconds. Let's generate another one. Can we generate another one? Cool. So now we have 5 videos loading. And I actually forgot that Gen 4 just added Gen 4 Turbo. And so they just added Turbo, and this actually is very fast. It generates 10-second clips in about 30 seconds, I believe, which is a lot faster than 5 minutes, which Krea does, which is cool. And so sometimes you don't need to use the best model, and so you see that there's actually 2 minutes remaining on this. But let's take a look at these videos. So we're generating a video here. Okay, so it's still like pedaling down. Let's see. Okay, maybe we started off with a bad image. Maybe oh, here it's like flying down. Maybe what we should do, and we can always come back to Midjourney, right? Maybe we go to a different one, and maybe we do one where it's not over stairs. Let's actually Let's do another image. Let's create another concept here. And let's just say man walking down the street, photorealistic man walking down the street holding a leather brown briefcase that that has a red circle logo on it. Let's say we have a briefcase brand and the logo is just this red circle. It's going to be this viral sensation. We can generate a bunch of these images here. And we're going to do a more simple video. I mean, this is hard. We gave it a tiger riding a skateboard down. And like, this would be good if it was on flat ground, but it's like, what is it supposed to do from this frame? So this is probably an error of mine. Like, this is like obviously a very unrealistic frame, but it's like, what do you do with the physics of it? Like, I guess we could say tiger riding skateboard downstairs and falls off. We tried that on the Kriya example. And so this one's done, and you can see it's kind of like flowing over the stairs like he's flying, and then he reaches the ground at the bottom below the stairs, if you see that right there. Maybe this is just a really bad prompt. Let's go back to Kriya and let's see how Kling did with these 5-second clips here. Oh, whoa. Okay, a lot more detailed, but very interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, what the hell? That's actually crazy. Oh, it wiped out. So he's like riding down the hill and then it flips. So Kling actually is the most detailed model. Kling actually goes crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Let's imagine we wanted to create a 30-second ad for a McLaren, right? If we wanted to create a 30-second ad for McLaren, what we would need to do, if we think about this in terms of a video timeline in CapCut or Premiere Pro, let's say this right here is a 10-second video clip. If we wanted to create a 30-second ad, we would need 3 of these. So we would need 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and 10 seconds. But more realistically, it might be a 8-second clip. It might end up looking something like this, but this is not good enough, right? We need more than just a video layer. We're actually gonna need some sound. So we're definitely gonna need some sound. And so this is, we'll probably want some music. And then we're also gonna want some sound effects, right? If you have a commercial with a driving car and it doesn't make any car noises, that's a pretty bad video. So we're gonna want some sound effects, and these sound effects, the music might be consistent throughout the whole background, but we might have some sound effects for the car starting. Maybe we'll have a sound for the car driving. Maybe we'll have some layered sound effects where we have, you know, just the general sound of the city. Maybe there's some wind or something like that. But ultimately, we're going to be creating something that might look more like this. And so this is what actually makes up a video, right? A video is not just the actual video frames, right? These need to be consistent. They need to have a consistent style, but there also needs to be music and some good sound effects. And the third layer of audio is going to be dialogue. Let's say we're going to have some dialogue. And this layer right here might actually just be at the end. It might say something, or maybe it'll say something inspiring at the beginning. It'll be a little blank, and then we'll have this dialogue, and we'll have a consistent speaker. So let's go ahead and actually create a video just like this. Let's first decide what product we want to advertise in the video. I'm going to ask ChatGPT, come up with 10 ironic, simple, funny product item ideas. A do nothing button. Okay, so do nothing button, a pre-cracked egg, a pocket sand. You know what? A do nothing button. I actually like this. A sleek button that when pressed lights up and does absolutely nothing. So let's go ahead and copy this. Now, let's actually stay within ChatGPT. Please turn this into an image of a man about to press this button. The button is sitting on a kitchen table in front of him. Make this in the style of Studio Ghibli. And look at this, this is great. So do nothing button, do nothing button. It has this big red button and it's in the style of Studio Ghibli. I like it. Let's go ahead and download it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this image and drag it into Runway Gen 4. And we are going to just type in man about to press a button, but gets stressed and puts both hands on his head. Generate. Now what we're gonna do, while that's generating on ChatGPT, I'm gonna say, please make a close-up image in the vertical aspect ratio that you've already created. Please make it a close-up of the do nothing button. Make it look exactly the same and have the case right next to it like it is on the table, but do not have the image of the man. I guess we'll say do not have the man. God dang it. It'll be fine. The first one is done. Let's check it out. Oh, he's speaking. Please put your hands on the head. Oh, that's kind of nice. It did exactly what we said. It's kind of good at the Studio Ghibli style. Let's see. This is another option we have. I don't like how fast he's speaking. So we can make an adjustment here. We go man, silent, not speaking, about to press a button, but gets stressed, puts both hands on his head. We can generate this image. And this is how I work with AI. You know, those videos are loading. So I'm gonna go back to this ChatGPT page and I have all these different tools open at the same time. So when one stops running, I'm actually gonna go back to the other one. Now I'm going to say, please make this again, but with a professional background, not the case, just the button, a product photo in the style of Studio Ghibli. And I like this one. Let's go ahead and download it. So remember, we changed this to silent and not speaking. So let's see if this worked on Gen 4. So let's go like this. Why is his mouth moving? It's like it has to have his mouth moving. That's so annoying. So I just went ahead and tried it on Kria with the Kling model. And let's give it a try. There we go. See, that is what I was looking for the whole time. To have a character not speaking. For whatever reason, the Runway character could not, no matter how I prompted it, it always had to be speaking. Here, the character is not speaking. We're gonna create one more frame here, and it's just gonna be of the button. So we're gonna upload this image right here, which is just the do nothing button, and we're gonna have this button right here. So it's a man's gonna press the button, it's gonna make a sound, there's gonna be light music in the background, and then it's gonna do a close-up of the nothing button. So we'll do close-up of the do nothing button, zooms in on it, on the button, and the lighting gets dim. Generate. Now let's move to another fun part, and we're gonna move to the sound category. We're gonna go to 11labs.io, and then we're also going to go to Suno.ai. So on 11labs, we're gonna go to the app. What we're gonna do is we're gonna find the sound effects section, and we are gonna go button pressed, I'm gonna say cartoonish sound of a button pressed making a failure noise. Let's see what this sounds like. And this is a lot more fun because the iterations are a lot faster. And I actually just realized we can change the duration of the sound. And so we can make it, let's just make it 3 seconds, and we'll hit generate. So here are the samples. So it just generated these 4 sound effects. So let's go ahead and try them. That's okay. It's all right. I actually like this one. Let's try this sample too. On text-to-speech, let's just type in introducing the, wait, what did we call this item? The do nothing button. Introducing the do nothing button. It does nothing. Now we can change this to, I'm thinking like a deep voice here. And so we can use Julian.
If you really think you're alone at night.
Great, let's send it. So let's select Julian and now generate speech.
Introducing the do nothing button. It does nothing.
Great. Let's download that. Now what we're gonna do is we are gonna go back to Krea where we're generating this final shot here. So let's take a look at these. Amazing. Amazing. That is a wonderful shot. Download. So now we have the dialogue. So if we go back to our diagram here, we have our sound effects, with the riser and the button being pressed, and we have the dialogue, right? I think we're only going to have dialogue at the end. We're obviously going to have a lot shorter of a clip, but now we need music. So here on Suno, what we can do here is we can say we're going to do instrumental, and then we're going to have light, ambient, anxious music. I don't know what this means. I'm just putting in emotions here. And again, we can now create songs very easily. Okay, so these are done. Too fast, too sad, way too fast, too strummy. Do nothing button. I like it. Let's send it. So now if we press these 3 dots right here, we can click download MP3 audio. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open up Premiere Pro. We are going to clip all these together really quickly. Okay, so now here we're going to press skip. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drag all these files in here. It's quite simple to kind of get started. You have this timeline down here. You can see your video over here. This might be easier to get started in CapCut if you have any experience, but basically here we have this button and you have this character that presses this button. So we need the button pressed button. Let's line these up just like that. Maybe that button press wasn't the best. Maybe we need it, maybe it's a little too early. And let's get that music in here. Advertisement drum beat. Ironic and fun. Create. Create. Do you want to change your life? Don't press this. Don't buy this. Generate speech.
Do you want to change your life? Don't buy this.
All right. So now we'll go to Premiere Pro, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to make our own track here. Okay, do you want to change your life? Okay. Now let's actually raise this volume on this. Let's go 4.
Do you want to change your life? Don't buy this.
Let's see this.
Nope.
We can hit create captions. Now it's going to use AI to generate these, or it used AI to generate the transcript. So we're going to hit export. So it's done. We can go here. Now we can watch it full screen.
Do you want to change your life? Do you want to change your life? Don't buy this. Introducing the do nothing button. It does nothing. Do you want to change your life?
Okay, so here's the video. And I decided to just tweet this to illustrate the fact that we used GPT-4o for the image, Kling for the video, 11labs for the voice, 11labs for the sound effect, and Suno for the song. I did that all in a span of, I don't know, maybe 25 minutes total, and it definitely could get a lot easier. And that's why we're talking about vibe coding. There's ways to vibe code tools to actually speed up this process. But even before this whole process, we use ChatGPT to ideate on the idea. So that's another step. So we use 6 AI tools to quickly ideate, generate the first frame, create the video, add some sound, and it's kind of fun. And then we use AI to add the subtitles. I mean, that is a full AI stack right there. Here is what we did for this project. So as you've seen up until this point, Kling clearly is the best AI video model. Maybe you're gonna have to take my word on that, but rumor on the street says it is the best. And I follow the smartest people in the AI space, the people who are actually testing these models every time these new models come out. We have kind of a first-person view on Runway just doesn't have the control that Kling does. Kling is able to create better effects, like with the tiger falling off the skateboard, and also was able to keep the character's mouth closed and had better control in the video clip. And so we're calling these video generation tools. These are just tools that generate videos, and we're just gonna say like Kling, but worse for these other tools. So we don't actually need to go through all of these video tools because they're a lot like Kling. What I want to do is I want to move on to another category of video tools, right? This is a whole nother category, and this category can be looked at as either avatars. You can call this the avatar category, or I call it, and people are going to get mad at me for this, the slop category. This is AI generated slop. We may reach a world in the next 2 or 3 years where AI avatars are indistinguishable from humans. And there's all kinds of weird effects that's gonna happen from this. But let's go ahead and test this out. So we can actually go to heygen.com. And what we can do is, I have not trained an avatar on myself yet, but we can go ahead and actually just go to the avatar section. And what we can do is we can use Conrad, who's sitting here. We can have him sitting on the sofa. Here's a video of Conrad.
Welcome to the new era of video creation with HeyGen. Simply type your script to get started.
And it is pretty realistic. And so we can hit Create with AI Studio, and we can say, welcome to the intro to AI to Vibe Code Kevin William. And we can just say video script, and we can hit generate. We can choose either, let's choose 4K, let's turn off the watermark, because who wants that? And we can hit submit. And so this video is done. Let's go ahead and play this.
Welcome to the intro to Vibe Coding. I am your instructor, Kevin Williams. Welcome to the intro to Vibe Coding.
See, it's a little bit creepy, and there's something dead about these AI avatars. One person who does a really good job of this on Instagram is this guy by the name of Rowan Chung. All of his videos are AI generated, and you can't even really notice. Let's see one that did really well. This one did really well. So
Could revolutionize cancer treatment by navigating through the body's narrowest pathways. South Korean research.
This is an avatar version of him. This is not actually him, but it works.
Researchers have created water-based micro-robots covered with a special Teflon coating that gives them abilities similar to living cells. Using a clever
And you notice here he has mostly B-roll going, and I think that's why it works, or else I think people get bored of his movements, because he rarely moves.
technique, unlike traditional robots, these rice grain-sized water droplets can squeeze through tight spaces, pick up and move small objects, travel across water surfaces, and even combine with other.
You can tell it's an AI avatar, but it is pretty well executed. But anyway, yeah, so that's avatar content. Okay, so I think right now is a good time to pause and reflect. I want to talk about what we've discussed so far so that we can put it all in context, because we want everything to be a schema or a web of ideas rather than a list of ideas. How do these things intermingle so that you can very quickly think on your feet and use the tools when you need them? So far, we've talked about chat-based tools, and these chat-based tools more and more are gaining access to image and video tools. I asked a question in order to come up with a product idea. And then we were able to go through all of this. I created a Ghibli image based on this idea, and this was the starting frame. And then we created a video from that starting frame. In theory, you could set all of this up to be done as a workflow automation. Okay, so we just covered the vibe stack of tools like chat tools, video tools, image tools, and sound tools. But what if we want to use different tools in an automation? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So there's two main flows that we're going to cover in today's video, and we're just going to do a light overview. We're not actually going to dive super deep into them. We're just going to do a nice overview. I'm going to show you an example of an automation flow and an agent flow. So the first one I want to talk about is an automation flow, and for this we're going to use Zapier. So let's go ahead and open up Zapier, and let's go ahead and create a Zap. And a Zap is, I think, it's just basically an automation. It's just what Zapier calls an automation flow, and every automation flow has a trigger. And in this case, let's go ahead and make the trigger, and by trigger, I mean this actually sets off the automation, and the automation is just a list of things that happen once the trigger happens. So let's say let's go ahead and click on Notion, and let's go ahead and select an event. So let's say when a new database item happens, and so if we're in Notion, for those of you who are in Notion, it's kind of like a overcomplicated Excel spreadsheet with like Wikipedia in it. But anyway, in Notion, you can create these things called databases, and they're kind of like tables. And so we're just going to create let's call this Zapier database. And what we're going to do here is we can actually go back to Zapier. And what we're going to do is we're going to select new database item account. And let's go ahead and type in, and so basically whenever a new database item is created, for Zapier, we can choose that Zapier database that we just had, and we can hit continue, and we can just hit test trigger, even though we actually haven't added a new item in the database. So let's go ahead and add a new item in this Zapier database. And so I'm gonna delete, so let's add a new one, and we can say man walking down the street. And so we just entered this new title in here. And let's say we have a tag, so we can actually create tags in this, and let's just say image. And so now let's create an automation that generates an image. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Zapier, and what we can do is we can actually AI image. So we can actually just choose OpenAI, and now we can actually choose the DALL-E. So I think we can just type in image, generate an image with DALL-E, and here we can choose account. We can just choose the normal account here, and we're going to hit continue. And so now what we can do is we're going to use the model DALL-E 2, and right now the new GPT-4o image model that we talked about earlier, this is not out yet, but as soon as it comes out, we can actually replace DALL-E 2 with this new GPT-4o vision model, and so we can actually prepare ahead of time for when this model comes out, and we can create automations with it. And so for the mapping section, if we just press this slash button, we can continue with this selected record, and we can press this slash button, and so we can actually just choose the title name. So we can go man walking down the street, and we can now use this DALL-E 2 model. So it's going to take whatever the title is, which is in this section right here. So man walking down the street. I think we could create a file or media thing, and we can actually have it show up right here. So what we can do is we can go to Zapier, and we are now sending the title right here. So DALL-E 2, number of results. Let's just do 1 for now. Size, oh yeah, let's do 1024 by 1024. User, I'm not sure we need that. Let's test this step. Okay, so it just finished loading, and it gave us this URL, and it showed that it generated this URL. So this is just a test, so we can actually copy this, open it in a new tab. Let's see if it generated something. Okay, this is a man walking down the street. Wow, this is a really old model. This looks awful. Yeah, I guess we are using DALL-E 2, not DALL-E 3. Okay, yeah, we were using DALL-E 2. Let's switch it to DALL-E 3. That looked horrible. Style, let's go vivid, sure, continue. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to actually add another step. So we want to add a Notion step to actually add it as a file. So choose event, and now we want to update a database item and continue. And what we want to do here is we want to go to we want to update the Zapier database, and then the item that we want is the same ID. And so we actually want to do a custom value here, and we want to make sure we select the ID. So we want to choose the same ID that triggered the first one. Now what we can do is we can actually just go into the files and media, and we can actually map this to this data URL. I wonder if this is going to work. Let's test this step. Okay, it did. It showed up right here. So if we click on the image, it shows up right here. So now, in theory, if we were to go to Zapier, and if we publish this just like that, and we go back to Notion, we just created a very simple workflow that when we create a new database item that's polled every 1 minute, it's going to use the GPT-4o image model with DALL-E 3 and then upload it back up into into the files and media. So we can go like this. We can go monkey on a bike, turtle playing soccer, banana, taco, balloon, James Bond, cloud, over it. And you see they're coming in. I think the next two are gonna come in. Oh, there's that one and this one. So all that automation did indeed work. And you can see it has this monkey. And so if we go into the balloon, we click on this one, it should be a balloon once it loads. There we go, we have the balloons and we created this automation. Now let's add a few more steps. So if we go to Zapier real quick, we can add another step. So we can edit this Zap. We can actually do let's actually do ChatGPT conversation, continue, configure. And so if we go to the title, so like this, and we use the GPT-4o model, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, you are Sam Altman, and you are writing a short piece of content on the topic given to you, and make it opinionated and concise. And so here we are now, and now when we do the update item, so once we update the Notion database, we're going to actually add a field in the Zapier database. We're going to make this text, and what we're going to do here is, we're just going to add this Sam Altman's thoughts. That's what we're going to call it here. And now we can go back to Zapier, and what we can do is we can refresh these fields. There we go, Sam Altman's thoughts. And now we can add in this conversation here, and we are looking for the reply, and we can hit continue, 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 and then now we can publish. Now I think we can give this a test here, and if we just test this final step, we can retest this step, then we should see, yep, a man walking down. Okay, so here's Sam Altman's thoughts. So now in theory, if we go to the database and we type in going to lunch, and we type in large language models, we typed in a San Francisco elevators. We should get an image, and then we also should get a little message by Sam Altman. And look at this, these are loading in right here, and we now have a little thought by Sam Altman, and we also have these images, San Francisco, and it also comes with an image from San Francisco, which is pretty damn cool, in my opinion. There we go, not bad. Okay, so this is just one example of an automation no code. You can literally make those zaps as many steps as you want. You could literally use so many different AI tools within these automations, and you can set them up with Lindy, N8N, or make.com is another one that I didn't put on this list for whatever reason. Doesn't matter. But the next type of flow I want to get to is agent tools. And the first one I want to talk about is deep research. So you have your Vibe stacks, which are like the individual chat experience, right? The one block, which is where you can chat with AI, or you can generate an image, or you can generate a video. But the automated flow is what I call a Vibe flow. So you have the stack and the flow. But this is a more deterministic workflow automation, whereas we also have, if we go back to our map here, we can see that this is just one part of these automations and flows. I also consider agent tools another version of this. And so one version of this, actually, let's go ahead and let's run two of these at once because they take a while. So if we go to ChatGPT, again, ChatGPT is in every category of the map, and we turn on deep research, I consider this a flow, right? Because this can actually take from 5 to 20 minutes. And so we can do deep research with O3, and we can say, I want you to do an in-depth report on the best AI video models, AI image models, AI text models to use in my content. I'm trying to build my company, Vibecode, which is, and because it's research, it automatically searches the internet. So in that Vibe flow, the workflow automation we just created, we added a search step where it searches the internet, and you actually had to set it up to Tavily. This just does that automatically. And some of these AIs, you don't even have to ask. It'll just automatically search the internet if it decides that it needs to. And so what we can do here is we can actually say vibecodeapp.com, here is the info on my company. And so what this will do is it'll actually tell the agent to just go to that site, read about it, and then it will have a little bit more context. And then we can say, on top of looking at the best tools for the job, I want you to diagram the flows for this. So what flows can I use of tools to actually make this work? What workflow can I use that will best optimize the marketing strategy that I use here? And please make this a very detailed report. And what it's going to do here is it's going to actually ask me some follow-up questions. So thanks for sharing your vision with Vibecode. What kind of content are you looking to create? So that's good. I'm looking to create short-form reels for short-form content. And so we can just throw in a paragraph here. It says, awesome, I'm on it, and watch this. So it's going to tell us what it's going to do, and then now it is starting its research. And if you have the Plus plan, I think you get like 10 of these per month, maybe. This is literally going to search the internet. It's going to think, it's going to compile sources. Sometimes it can go up to 100 sources. This is designed to do it, to type this in, and then go off with your day, and you come back 5, 15 minutes later or later, right? You're not meant to just sit here and wait. The same thing is true about Manus, right? So we can say, we can go to Manus, and we can actually take a look here at some of the examples. But Manus is a new tool. And in order to describe Manus, I actually want to bring up a new tool, which is, let's bring up the Claude desktop app, because I don't think I've talked about this tool yet. Claude has access to tools. And I'd actually think I'm gonna make a separate MCP video for this, because I think I can make an hour or an hour and a half video on MCPs alone, because it has access to 47 MCP tools, which I'll talk about later. But what we can do here is Claude actually has the ability to search the internet now. And so I'm just gonna say search the internet and tell me about Manus, the new AI agent tool, and what it does in 3 paragraphs in an artifact window. Over the course of this video, I have used the term canvas a lot when ChatGPT brings up the side window, which is a canvas. In Claude, it is called an artifact, which is the original the OG pop-up side window, and this was one of the best features ever created. And so here, Manus is a multi-agent AI system developed by a team in China and launched March 6. Unlike conventional chatbots that only provide information, Manus is designed to autonomously execute complex tasks, including researching, analyzing data, generating reports, writing code, and deploying websites with minimum supervision. That is a new flowchart of how this tool works. And this is one of my favorite parts of Claude, is it's really, really good at generating flowcharts in what's called Mermaid. So this is a Mermaid syntax here. And it's just gonna automatically convert, once it's done coding, into a so this is a full flowchart. And so we can see here, and so we can actually bring this over here. We're gonna wanna probably full screen this, honestly. Make it simpler and make it from the user experience perspective. And this is a much simpler explanation of what Manus is. Manus works on a task autonomously, navigates websites, processes data, writes code if needed, creates deliverables. And so Manus completes tasks, notification is sent to user, user reviews completed work, user can replay the session to see how the task was done, user can use or download results, user can request modifications. And so this is a full, kind of like an AI employee, almost like an AI employee that you have access to. So now that you kind of understand that it has this agentic workflow, it kind of makes decisions on what it needs. It can navigate websites. It can go out and process the data that it finds on these websites. It can write code if needed. You can also give it data, by the way, and it creates deliverables. It can create a deliverable for you. So like, what deliverable do we want from Manus? So do research on the modern AI tools for generating videos. I want a PDF with images as the final output. Okay, let's run that. And so now we have 2 AI agents working right now, because as you can see here, the AI agent that we created for deep research on ChatGPT is only halfway done. 24 sources. So it's selecting 24 different sources. It's doing all of this activity. If we go to Manus, we can see here that it's doing a bunch of stuff here. What's cool about Manus is you can click on one of these, and this will actually open up this side panel right here, and it will tell you, it'll kind of show you what's going on. So it'll show you the full plan. I think this is very, very cool. We can screenshot this. I'm gonna add it to this, which I'm going to make this whole board here at the end. I'm gonna organize it and make it like super useful, and I'm gonna allow you to download it and stuff. And this is just kind of a good way to see what we've covered in this video. But you can see that Manus has a plan. It has a research plan. It says created a project directory and research plan. So it's created and organized files. It's created like a little mini IDE for itself to work on this. And so now it's going to search for modern AI tools. It's going to collect detailed information on each tool, gather images and examples for each tool. And so each of these agents are going on for 10, 15 minutes at a time. And this is why I made a tweet a while back. I said the future of marketing and the future of business and startups may end up looking like online poker. So this is my ultimate prediction. If you guys followed poker back in 2010s, I was really, really young during this era. I only saw like documentaries of it. I wasn't into poker then. But the best poker pros were playing online poker. And if you've ever played poker, it's turn-based. Meaning if you fold your hand, you have to wait a while before you get your next hand. And you don't even play every hand. You fold a lot more often than you play, right? You might only play 15, 20% of your hands in poker. And so these pros, in order to make money, would play online poker on multiple tables at once. When it was your turn, that table would light up. And this is called like multi-tabling. Poker pros would literally play 30 games at once. Their brain ran calculations so fast that they were able to play profitably in 30 games at once. And that's how they made the most money that they possibly could. And I think that the future of AI agents, right, as you can see here, we've basically sent off these employees. There's nothing that we could do right now, right? there's nothing that we could do other than to send we could actually manually do some work or take the research. But I think that a lot of the work will actually be using these AI agents asynchronously to do a bunch of tasks. And I think that there will be a CEO in the near future, within the next year, who will run a company managing these AI agents on these multiple screens. And you're just going to be there and you're going to be like, all right, Manus 1, Manus 2, Manus 3, Manus 4. And it's going to cost a lot of money in agents. Now, Greg Eisenberg would call this vibe marketing. This is so Greg Eisenberg thinks that like vibe marketing will be a few people using these workflow builders, agent platforms, software, so like to automatically create lead magnets. You're going to use vibe coding tools to create like little mini MVPs that people can sign up for the wait list. And then you can use like marketing and automation tools to kind of create this entire workflow to basically amplify the work that your marketing team does. For me personally, I just don't like the name, and I think it's going to be wider than marketing itself. And so I don't know the name for it, but that's kind of how I picture it. I think of it as like multi-tabling agents, the MTA, multi-table agents, kind of orchestrating these AI agents. Okay, so Manus, I believe, is done, and deep research is done as well. So let's take a look at what these AI agents went out and did. So here we had 27 different sources right here. And if we look at all the activity, O3 went out and did a lot of different things. And so we have this entire report. So if we scroll all the way to the bottom and we open up BearNote once again, this is the report that was created. And I'm really hoping that soon these reports will have images that it just pulls from the internet and puts in here. But like, look at how long this is. Like, this is probably a 20 to 30 page report. This is just insane. And it did all of this research, and you can see here it has a lot of different links, and that is the report that it created. If we go to Manus, we can see here that it returned, so it went through all of these different steps, and you can check on them right here. Every single step you can see, and this allows you to actually see where in its reasoning it went wrong. So if you see here, be like, okay, I don't want you to do it like this. Can actually help you in the prompt that you create next. And I actually heard the argument on Twitter the other day that this is a reason why you want to hire agents instead of humans, because humans, you judge people on the outputs generally, especially if they're like a contractor. Whereas the AI agent, you can actually see every single thing that they did. And in theory, you could create an AI agent that looks for what went wrong, and you could use that to improve your agent. And that's kind of, I guarantee you, a multi-million-dollar company will be created that solves that specific problem, is using AI agents to improve AI agents. That is coming for sure. And the output was this PDF. So we can click on this PDF. Let's see. I've tried PDFs before and wasn't overly impressed, but let's see. So we can go to downloads and let's open this up, and we can see that we're getting some overlap here. Okay, so we have a table of contents. The landscape of video creation has undergone a revolutionary transformation. Let's zoom out here. Okay, this isn't bad. It created this, categories of video creation tools, AI avatar and studio quality video. Okay, text to video, generative AI tools. Interesting, Synthesia, Runway, Descript, very interesting, future trends and developments. So this created this full-on report for us. And in PDF format. And all we had to do was ask it to create a report with a PDF and include images. So it created that. And so you can think of all of the things that we've covered today in that first section as tools. I know I call them vibe stacks. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I think a better way to call them would be to call them vibe tools, because AI agents have access to tools. And so AI agents kind of decide what the next step is, and they're using tools in a loop. And so I think the future of AI agents, like within the next 3 to 5 years, might just look like an agent that has access to all of these things. So you can say, I want you to create a video that does X, Y, or Z. And the AI agent will just go out, use these different tools, right? It can use any of these different tools in any order that it wants. And then not only can it use the tools, but it can actually process and watch. Remember earlier in the video when the Gemini model, you can upload a video and AI can actually take it in as an input, process it, and understand what's being said at every timeline, what's being showed on the screen at every time, at any timestamp. AI agents will be able to do that with the videos that they generate using these tools. And then it can decide, okay, what do we need to add? Okay, I'm gonna go back out, I'm gonna use the Kling AI tool, generate a video clip, generate a video clip, video clip, video clip, and maybe it'll process many of them at once and decide which parts of that video should be shown as B-roll in the giant video that it's creating. Because these AI agents, over time, are not only going to get smarter, they're going to get access to more tools. And so we're starting to see the very beginning of tools like Manus that can plan. It's basically like a high-functioning research agent that can also generate code when it has to. But we're going to see the version of Manus that can generate videos, that acts as a full-on video editor, that can go through all of your footage, all of your images that you've created, your tone of voice, your style, and create a video based on all of those things. What I want to talk about is creating experiences with all of these tools and code, which is vibe coding, is being able to create an app fully with AI. And I think the best apps created right now using vibe coding are using these APIs or these tools. And that's something that I actually want to talk about right now. So what you can do now is you can go to a site like V0. I'm going to ask it, create a landing page for a site that sells slug bugs, but in this style, and we're going to upload it this style. Keep the site minimal because we will have images of the car in that color, and I want that to be the focal point. Make it just a hero section and a footer, nothing else. And so this coding agent is generating all of the different files. It's going out, deciding exactly what we need. And here it's generating all the files, and it's about to immediately just show us the result of what it coded. As soon as it's done, it's going to show us this preview. Boom, there we go. Retro slug bugs. And so this is interesting. The G is being cut off, and I'll just tell it that. I'm gonna say, in this word, the G's are cut off at the bottom. Make that stop and make the buttons less colorful and the text less colorful. Now let's go ahead and go to ChatGPT here. And let's go ahead and upload this image to GPT-4o, and let's generate some images of a slug bug. So create a simple image of a slug bug with a plain background. The slug bug should have the same patterns as attached image. Okay, I like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. Now we have this slug bug. We'll put it right here. And we're gonna make this the background of the site. And we're gonna make this the background of the app. So what we can do here is while this downloads, we can go back to V0. And what V0 does, which is just an AI app or website builder, we can actually drag this image in here and we can say, please make the background of this site this image, please. I'm just gonna say get rid of this text. I want as little text as possible. And so we're gonna now insert this image into this site. So we are vibe coding with the image that we generated, and it's gonna get cooler. Trust me. Okay, look at this. So we have this clean site right here, and it shows this slug bug. And so now what we can do is we can actually go to Runway ML just because it's faster. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna generate a video, and we are gonna click on this right here, and we are gonna drop this image just like this. So it has the same aspect ratio as the original image that we put into the app. And so now we're going to describe the animation that we want in the website. And I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do this. I'm going to say car driving off the screen to the left. And now we can make these 5 seconds, and let's go ahead and generate this. Generate this. Generate this. And now we can get our prompt ready while the video is loading. So here, this is what I'm going to ask of V0. Okay, when I hover my mouse close to the car, I want you to then replace the image with a video that is of the same, I want it to show up as the same size as the image, because the video is this car going off the screen. And I want the image to turn into a video, and the car is going to drive off the screen. And after 3 seconds, after the video starts, once I hover close to the car, I want a middle screen pop-up to come up that says buy now, that has a little image, a littler version of the image of the car, and put the price 20,000, checkout now. The video that I want you to use is attached in this comment right here. So we can actually attach videos directly in V0, which is a really cool feature. And so we are now, let's go ahead and check which one we want to use. Hopefully one of these works. Okay. Why does it pause? Okay. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. So let's download this right here. So we have this downloaded video. Let's go ahead and drag this video in here. And this video is taking some time to upload. Okay, it's good. Now let's run it. So hopefully once our mouse gets close to the car, it'll have the car drive off the screen, and then it will show us the pop-up to buy it for 20,000. And while that's loading, let's go to ElevenLabs, because again, we're applying everything that we've learned and we're connecting it all together. What we want to do here is we want to create a sound effect, and we want this to be, let's say, 6 seconds, I think, for now. And let's say car starting and slowly driving. Simple car noise. I don't want it to be too complicated. All right, let's check out these noises. Pretty solid. Let's use that noise. So we first need to nail, let's see if V0 got it. So it's done. I'm going to refresh this whole page just so we have, I want to see if this animation works properly. Okay, let's see. Interesting. Okay. Don't make the pop-up dim everything behind it, and make it way smaller. Also, when the video starts, also play this sound. And now we can upload this sound. That doesn't look awful. This car, it does glitch a little bit, but now it has checkout, 20,000. Very interesting. All right, let's test this out here. Wait, hold on. There we go. And you know what? It's not perfect. It's not perfect. We don't want it to play on repeat. All right, so we just used AI to create a website, a landing page, and we put AI-generated images and videos within that website. But what if we actually want to create an app that uses these AI power-ups or APIs? And so I call APIs power-ups because these are external tools that you can add to your app, and it creates really cool features. And so I want to start off with some examples. So here's an example of an app that I built, which is actually a clone of a very popular app called Cal AI. And very simply, when the user takes a photo on the app sends the photo to the OpenAI API, it analyzes the photo and generates text. So it's actually using the image to text model. It is converting this image into text. It sends that information back to the app. And so this is actually what it looks like right here. So if we hit this plus sign right here, we can hit scan food. And I can now take a photo of this banana. And you can see here that it is now processing that image. And there we go. It is 105 calories. It tells me the amount of carbs, protein, fats, and we can log that information. And since I made this version of the app specifically for people with diabetes, now we get this little message on here that describes if it's good or not if you have diabetes. So it's like a personalized app. And we're entering the era where you can just build apps specifically for yourself. And so the best app ideas that you can have that make money, at least when you're starting out, follow these two rules. It's like, what specific pain point does the app solve? And then how do you get the user to solve that problem in as little touches as possible? And because of APIs and AI, it makes it a lot easier to make things solvable really quickly. And it's tempting when you start vibe coding with tools like Cursor, which I'm about to go over, to add a ton of features. And I highly recommend focusing on making the experience with one feature like as best as you can make it before you start adding many features. It seems fun to make a ton of features, but it's really hard when you are vibe coding to continue to add additional features, because every additional feature you add, it gets 10 times harder to maintain. And it's also a lot more confusing to the end user. Here's a list of my favorite APIs that I like to use. And we are now going to use Cursor, which in my opinion is the best vibe coding tool, the best tool to build apps with AI. And we are going to use some APIs. One thing that you need when you use an API, in order for the API to send anything back, what's required is an API key. If you do not have an API key, the app is actually just going to send nothing back to you and you're going to get an error on your app. But there are tools coming out soon that are handling at least the testing phase for API keys at the beginning, so you can just go immediately into testing your app and the API keys are actually provided in the app. But that's not the case with Cursor, because Cursor is actually the most advanced vibe coding tool, but once you learn the interface, it's actually not that difficult. And so what I want to do right now is I want to build an app on Cursor that utilizes APIs. I have like 20 more videos using Cursor. In fact, I have a 2.5-hour video where I just go through the basics of Cursor. But for a very simple app, I actually think you can dive into it only with a 5-minute video, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use Cursor right now. But if you want more in-depth content, I've made that already. So the way that I get started, I'm just going to hit Open Project. I'm going to create a new folder wherever you want. This is just going to be Test Project, and we're going to hit Open. And so now it's opened a blank folder right here. And so all you need to really understand is that at this folder on your computer, you're going to have files that is this app. And you are going to pay attention mostly to this sidebar. In fact, I only really pay attention to this sidebar. So I'm just going to say create a Next.js project, a Next.js app. And for now, don't worry about what Next.js is. Just trust me if you're testing this out at first. This will allow you to create one that actually looks cool. Create a Next.js app. I want this app to solve the specific problem of splitting the bill at a restaurant. I want to be able to upload an image of a receipt, and I want to select which items belong to who, and then I want it to keep track of the totals. We are going to be using the OpenAI API. I'm going to put in parentheses GPT 4.0 to convert the image into a structured output. And then I'm going to say, here is my OpenAI API key. And I'm going to show you this, but always keep your OpenAI key completely secure. But I'm going to create one and then I'm going to delete it after this video. So if you see my key, I'm going to delete it right after this video so it won't be available. Where we need to go is we need to go to OpenAI Playground. And this is where you're going to get your API key, which will allow you to use, right? This gives you access to this. This is what it gives access to. It will not work if you don't have an API key. So OpenAI platform, what we're going to do is we're going to click dashboard. And now we're going to click API keys. Now we're going to hit create new secret key. And I'm just going to call this one test, create API key. And we're going to copy it. And here is my OpenAI API key. I'm going to paste it right here. And I am going to create the project, then run it locally, which will allow me to test it. And now the AI agent, right? This is an AI agent because this can actually search the web. It can do planning. It can think. It can do all these different things before generating your code. And we're going to see all the files being created over here. And so now you see we have this file. It's called package.json. And it is just creating all the files to build this application. And so this has actually been loading for about 4 to 5 minutes now. And it's creating so many different files to build this application. And this is just part of the game now with these AI agent tools or these flow-based tools. All right, so it says it's done, but I am seeing an error here. So whenever you get an error, just copy and paste the whole thing and paste it in here. Please fix the error. This is all part of vibe coding. Okay, so here it gives us this localhost link. We can open this up. Okay, so now the app is working. So now we can upload a receipt. I'm just gonna look up a receipt image and let's go ahead. Restaurant. And we'll snag this one right here. Oh yeah, let's get a realistic one. So let's go ahead and let's select this receipt right here. Now, let's go ahead and upload that receipt. So we can upload that screenshot right here and we can hit process receipt. Let's see if this works. Failed to process, please try again. And so it failed to parse the receipt. Please fix this. Search the internet if you have to find a fix. Okay, so here it's done. Let's see if this works. So we can upload this screenshot here, process the receipt. Let's see if the API is working. It appears like it's working this time. Boom. Okay, so here is the bill that it processed. We can add Riley, and we could add Kevin. And here, okay, and it created this little table for us. So we can go Riley, Kevin, 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 Riley, Riley, and Kevin. And here's the summary. And it split the bill perfectly. So in this case, we just created this little app, and it allows you to take a photo of your app, or take a photo of your receipt, and it sends the photo to the OpenAI API. And because we have an API key, it analyzes the photo and generates the structured data text. If we were to upload this screenshot right here, this the receipt, and we just say, please tell me about this receipt. And if we were just to enter this in as a normal ChatGPT prompt, this response that it's about to give me is unstructured data. Even though you're seeing this table, even though you are seeing this as kind of in different formats, it seems like it's structured. It is unstructured. Show me the structured format with JSON. And what this is this is actually a legit structured output, and this is what this app is doing. So this is exactly what this app is doing. This is a structured output, and the API on the back end shows, this is what it shows. And then it basically loads that information in this structured output right here so that it can look the same every single time. And that's one thing that's really cool about the OpenAI API is it has a really good structured output API. And so if you need to create lists, tables, or anything like that, I recommend using the OpenAI API key. And obviously it's a little bit harder for beginners because there's a lot that I did here. Even though it was a few steps, the cursor interface is a little bit confusing. But let me show you an easier way to create an app like this. So right now it's a mobile app, but let's go ahead and say, please create a mobile app that allows me to take a photo of a receipt, and it allows me to select who paid for what after I add name. Please use the GPT-4o model to analyze the image and structure the output. Please make the app orange and black and white and gray. And so this is the VibeCode app, and this is the app that my team and I are working on. And we actually built we built the APIs directly into this app. So you actually don't need to go get an API key when you're testing it out. So we can actually just send this in, and now the app is working. So now the code is generating. Okay, it is now done. And so now we can actually upload a receipt, or we can scan a receipt. Let me just scan one on my computer. Or let's go ahead and test this app real quick. And so if we open this up and let's go ahead and take a photo of this receipt. Let's see if this works. Analyze receipt. Okay, there we go. And so 124.53, and it broke everything down. And so there we go. This is a good example of using an API, the same one that we tried to use on Cursor, except we actually didn't even need to use an API key. The app just kind of worked automatically. There we go. And we had to fix one little error, but we created this in, I don't know, like 7 or 8 minutes. And we can add people to the bill. Let's see, add person. Okay, let's add Riley. Okay, now we can add Kevin again. Okay, now we can tap to assign this item. Okay, so we'll give that one to Riley. We'll give this one to Kevin. We'll give this one to Riley. We'll give this one to Kevin. Obviously, I don't think this user experience is the best, but we can assign all of them. We could probably make this a lot quicker, but there we go. We have the full total for each one, Riley and Kevin. And now we can actually add a little feature that says, please create new receipt option at the end after I've assigned all of the costs. That creates a little shareable list that I can very easily send to someone via text. So this should be a native iPhone feature that lets me share this info with someone on text right away after I've assigned all of the costs on the receipt. Okay, so now the code is generating, and we can actually watch the updates as it happens on the VibeCode app, and it's building this native iOS app. And since it is a native iOS app, and that's what we're building, we get access to the native features like share on messages. And so we should have a feature that pops up on here that allows me to very quickly share it with Kevin. As you can see here, it hit refresh. Okay, I saw that some changes are happening. I still don't see the share feature. Let's see if it adds it. Okay, so look at this. It added it in 2 locations actually. It said share bill details. And so all I have to do is press share bill details, and it allows me to very quickly send this information over. And so I'm gonna go ahead and send it to my girlfriend, Emily, even though I did put in Kevin. But as you can see here, the total tack room receipt split Riley, Kevin, and there it is. There's all of the items sent from my Bill Splitter app. And that's a pretty cool feature. You can just in one click share it with whoever you want. And that would be good to share it in the group chat if it was a bigger group. And so this is just another good example of a cool workflow that you can create in just a few prompts directly from your phone. And you could also create something like this in Cursor. I just think it's easier, on your phone, just like this. Okay, wow, we actually did cover a lot in this video, and I am going to post this full guide online. The link will be in the description, so you can find this mind map and all these tools. But we talked about a bunch of different tools. We talked about automation workflows, and we used Zapier to create a Notion workflow that had some AI features built into it. And then we discussed vibe coding tools. We built a landing page on V0. We talked about APIs and how these can give your apps power-ups. And I guess we only showed an example of the OpenAI API being used, both text and the image input. But in future videos, I'm going to show you how to use Replicate. I've actually made videos in the past talking about Replicate and other APIs that you can use, including Perplexity and 11 Labs. And we also talked about how to come up with the best vibe coding apps, and I showed two examples, right? We had one on Cursor and then one using the vibe code app. If you're on the computer, you should use Cursor. From the phone, if you want to create mobile apps, you should use the vibe code app. And yeah, so this was a long video. We also made a video. We made this ad, which is pretty fun.
Do you want to change your life? Don't buy this. Introducing the Do Nothing button. It does nothing.
And so we created this little video here. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.